This year marks the 125th anniversary of the publishing of The Awakening. It's a classic American novel by Kate Chopin, who lived right here in Louisiana. And this anniversary makes it the perfect time for two New Orleans authors to actually write a book all about her. Their names are Rory Schmitt and Rosary O'Neal. And guess what, everybody? They are both joining us here today to talk about their new book. It's called Kate Chopin in New Orleans. And by the way, they're a mother-daughter duo. Hello, ladies.
We're happy to be here.
Oh, so happy to have you all. I think it's so amazing that you all are a mother-daughter duo. And look, this is the third book by you two together. And Rosary, I want to start with you, the matriarch of the family. Why did you all want to write a book about Kate? And moreover, tell us a little bit more about who Kate Chopin was.
Well, she was and is a leading American writer. I dare I say a woman writer, leading. And her book was so scandalous and so moving, it was condemned for 50 years.
Really? Why was it so scandalous? Wait a minute.
It was bad because the woman did bad things and she wasn't punished for it.
That's deep.
Yeah, that's deep, right? If she'd been punished, she'd been okay. But it's just a marvelous book. It's exquisitely written. And so it was rediscovered on the shelf of Harvard University by one graduate student, and he fell in love with it, and it came out of the dust and became a classic worldwide. Now it's started Dominican, all schools all over New Orleans, and certainly all over the world.
It's so cool, and I can't believe it's celebrating 125 years. That is so impressive. And you know, Rory, you first heard about Kate when you were actually at Dominican High School. And I love that you all are reintroducing her to people who maybe did not know about her till now. Talk to me about this book. How did you all set it up?
Well, actually at Dominican, I was taking a class with an ex-nun, Mrs. Blanchard, and we studied The Awakening. And when we were researching this book, I actually found some of my old papers that I wrote, just to kind of see how did a 15 or 16-year-old relate to the story. And I was actually talking to my best friend and her daughter, who's at Dominican, and read the same book. And it's just so fascinating that 125 years later, it's still relevant and people still connect and get really wonderful messages from it. So it's inspiring to see that.
For sure. So when you all were writing this book, what is it? Is it more of a biography? Is it more of just kind of like times about Kate and all of that? How did you all approach this?
Well, we focused on one time, New Orleans and Cloutierville, when she came here, because she wasn't really from here. She's from St. Louis. Her husband brought her here when she was 19. She thought it was going to be a wonderful life. Then his father died. He left for France. She was pregnant. At that time, women weren't allowed to go out much when they were pregnant. And she found out she had an orphan sister-in-law who was going to live with her. So her life started off pretty tough from the very beginning, but she broke all the rules. In other words, she decided she would walk outside by herself.
Come on, strong woman.
Get out there. I'm going to go. I don't need an escort. I don't need a chaperone. I don't need to wear all these clothes. And if you get near me, I'm going to smoke a cigar.
Okay, not a cigarette, a cigar. It's not just for men, everybody. And what I find so interesting about this book is not only are you introducing and reintroducing us to somebody we may have not known about here in Louisiana, but you all wrote this book together. There are not a lot of mother-daughter, author duos. Talk to me, Rory, about that experience working with your mom and writing it together.
I loved it. I learned so much. This is our third book together. I learned so much from writing with my mom, but we trust each other. We learn from each other. We're both very open-minded, and we go back and forth with draft after draft after draft, and my mom just writes so exquisitely, and she's teaching me a lot. But I think a big part of our writing process is researching, to interviewing scholars. I tell people that we're not the first people to write about the Chopin, and we won't be the last either. People have written about her. Dr. Barbara Ewell from Loyola University, Charles Cannon teaches at Loyola, Emily Toth at LSU. She's just such a seminal author, and we'd like to claim her as from Louisiana, even though she's not from here. But she wrote, over 100 short stories about Louisiana that people fell in love with. So,
unbelievable. And I believe she also wrote, 2 novels as well?
Right, that's correct.
That is so impressive. And I think it's great, again, that it's a mother-daughter duo. But what I also think is amazing is that you all are 2 female writers writing about a female writer. Rosary, for you, how did that help you become a better writer? And why are you a better writer? Because of people like Kate paving the way.
She was very smart. And so I'm learning from her. She looked at what she could get published before she wrote anything. Because she was bankrupt, she was broken, she had 6 kids, 5 sons,
5 boys.
5
Lord.
boys and 1 little girl, totally spoiled.
Okay, 6 altogether.
And so she had
And a
to make a
widow.
living. And a widow. Her husband died of
Yes.
malaria. So like,
wow.
And then her mother went and died on her of cancer. It's like, what? And so she started to research what she could get published. And she was living in the Midwest, and she found out that stories about the Midwest had no interest whatsoever. But stories about New Orleans were very interesting to women, and women's stories were coming out in all the major magazines. So
And
that's
speaking of women's
she
stories,
wrote to it.
Absolutely. You all have this woman's story out now, and I want to thank you both for coming
Wow.
here. And by
Thank
the
you.
way, these 2 people, they both have PhDs, art education, and drama. So go ahead, ladies,
Thank
doing
you.
their thing.
Thank
And your
you.
sister, her sister rather, right there, and her daughter, of
yeah.
course, they wrote a song
Yeah.
about Kate as well. So it's amazing. Check it out. And if
Yeah.
you want more
Yes.
information about this book, again, it's called Kate Chopin in New Orleans. It's available for purchase now, and it's also at a lot of local bookstores as well. For more information, arcadiapublishing.com is the website you need to go to. And stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back.